Thanks so much for joining us. I'm just going to read your bio now, although I'm sure many people are already familiar with you and all of your accolades. But Jazz began playing rugby as a child at the age of 15. She was scouted for the Scarlets Ladies Under-18 program, where she became quickly an integral part of the Under-18s team and soon progressed to the senior squad. She was selected as part of the Wales A squad for the UK Games in 2013. From there, she was called into the Welsh squad to train for the extended Six Nations Wales squad. In 2015, while studying at Cardiff, she was selected to play for the Wales Sevens team for Dubai. And from that point, she was regular to the Women's Sevens team and played for Wales at the 2015 European Championship Rugby Club in the championship that was held over 2 legs in Russia and France. In 2019, she represented the Barbarians Rugby Club in the first Women's International Barbas game against USA in Colorado. In 2016, she was selected for Team GB at the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio, where she was the only player from Wales in the squad, with the other 11 players all coming from the England team. Jasmine hopes to make a second Olympics after being named in the initial Women's GB 7 squad this past February. And the final squads will be announced soon, depending on, I guess, what happens in the next couple of months. But we're so excited to have you here, Jazz. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on.
Where are you now? Where are you calling us from?
So Crosshands in Wales. Probably not many people are going to know where that is, but Wales, we'll say.
Very good. And you're sort of like some, the other players that have joined us previously, a triple threat. You've got Wales Sevens, Team GB, Barbarians, all these accolades to your name. But what I noticed, what was interesting in your background was that you started playing quite early on, but then you were also scouted for essentially like an academy program, which is very interesting. I was wondering if you could just talk us through maybe the Welsh rugby kind of culture and culture towards women's rugby and your personal youth experience.
So I actually started playing when I was 7, not 15, but so little. So I used to play with the boys, which I really enjoyed. Initially, they would never pass me the ball because I'm a girl or whatever. And then they passed me the ball once and I was quick then. So I scored, and then all of a sudden were like, oh yeah, pass her the ball. So yeah, I've played since I was 7. I forgot the question. What did you say?
Oh, sorry. Just if you obviously Wales is like a rugby crazy nation as it is, but if you could just talk us about the Welsh kind of rugby culture, especially in women's rugby, and how that sort of shaped your experience in getting involved at such a high level.
Yeah, obviously Wales is a massive rugby nation. For men and women, there's rugby everywhere you go. Six Nations is such a massive event in Wales, so many people get to watch us as a women. We follow the men as well, so it's really good publicity for us for people to watch us, as well as also then representing Team Wales in the Commonwealth Games. A few of us girls got selected for the Barbarians game, so all of that stuff just helps us get the sport out there and be role models for women, the other girls then.
Yeah, and you just you mentioned the Barbarian squad, which I think a lot of people would be interested in. Tell us a little bit, maybe for those that don't know that much about it, a little bit about the team and your experience playing for them.
So pretty much the Barbarians, they have a coach and they choose, can be retired rugby players or players who are still playing, and they tend to choose the better ones from each nation. So I was fortunate enough, alongside a few of my other Welsh teammates, to go and represent Barbars in Colorado, which is the first international fixture the Barbarians have played. So I got to play with some of the best players who've ever played the game, from New Zealand, Australia, England, so all over the world, which was really awesome. And I've probably got to say it's one of the best rugby experiences I've ever had, just because of the culture the Barbarians, the whole thing provides is just very chilled. You win, you lose, it doesn't matter. It's a very non-pressure event. So for us to just go there and just enjoy playing the rugby, I think that was massive for us as well. Just to go out there and enjoy it rather than being like, got to play well, got to win. We did win, which was good as well. But yeah, one of the best rugby experiences that I've ever played at.
That's awesome. And you mentioned kind of the the pressure and the expectation that comes from needing to win. Recently, Wales has gone through a little bit of difficulty in getting some of the results that maybe you wanted. And I know a few months ago there was actually an article that was posted by one of your former teammates, sort of criticizing the Welsh Rugby Union and the support that it's getting for women's rugby. Was just curious if you, controversial question, but do you find that you're not getting the support that you need? Is the Welsh rugby setup sort of failing women's rugby? Just curious to get your take on that.
It's really tough. It's like a vicious circle because we're not doing so well. Like maybe then we're not getting pumped and supported enough. But then we're never going to get better if we don't get the support. So I think it's just a circle. But the women's rugby in Wales is on the up at the moment, and it's really important that we now, especially in this lockdown, just train as hard as we can. For then when we go back to rugby, whenever that may be, we're in the best shape we are to hopefully perform and get some wins. I don't know when the first game will be. I don't know who it will be against, but hopefully by that time we'll be ready. And we've got World Cup coming up soon, so we've got to be ready.
Absolutely. And we were talking about in your bio about your transition from 15s and 7s and how you've sort of been playing both games. I think of the 20 of the Six Nations squad, there were quite a few players. I mean, the bulk of them that also were then taken over to play for the Sevens national team. How have you found that, trying to juggle that, sort of similar to what Mo was saying for the England side, but it sounds like England is starting to move away into two separate squads, whereas Wales, there's still quite a lot of overlap. It must be very challenging.
Yeah, I think it is tough, but I think at the moment we don't have the strength and depth of the girls in Wales to be able to split the teams. So I think if we did split the teams, we wouldn't have a strong enough team to compete. So I think us at the moment, if we are able to do them both, it is important. I enjoy it. I love it anyway, because we get to play 15s, you get to play Six Nations, hopefully World Cups, and then with sevens, we get to travel the world. We were meant to go to Croatia this year, and we've never been there, so that's exciting as well. But it is tough to sometimes transition, not so much in my position, just because I'm a winger and we don't really do much anyway, but we just, I don't need to change size or anything, but I think it's a bit harder for people who play in the forwards, back row, second row, who then have to kind of bulk up a bit for the 15s and then kind of get a bit fitter, smaller for the sevens game. So it can be tough for them. But the main thing for me transitioning is just technical stuff, like making sure I'm defending right. But that comes quickly. I don't have to change my physical appearance or anything like that, which is a benefit for playing wing.
And you mentioned some of the benefits of playing both kind of sevens and 15s and some of these awesome experiences. You've obviously been to, the Olympics and things like that. What are some of the highlights when you look back on the last couple of years from your rugby sevens experience?
Oh, there's loads. Obviously, got to go to the Olympics. That was, insane. Got to then go to a World Cup in 15s, which was in Ireland. So that was really good as well. Commonwealth Games, which is in Australia. I've literally travelled the world, to be fair, with rugby, and it's amazing. Barbarians, which was awesome again in Colorado. And I also got to play again then in Twickenham with some of the same girls. We played the Red Roses. And then just got, caps for Wales then, and hopefully, get more caps. Ideally, I want to go to another Olympics and another World Cup. And if we get the opportunity to qualify for Commonwealth Games in Birmingham 2022, that will be good. I think then I'd be like, I've done what I want.
And how is the Olympics different to, let's say, other really high level sevens tournaments like Dubai Sevens or Hong Kong Sevens? What was your experience like? I think people would be really interested to learn about that.
Yeah, I think the Olympics, as well as the Commonwealth Games, to be honest, it's a multi-sport event. It's not just rugby. So I think it was really kind of fascinating to see other athletes, how they prepare, even what they eat and stuff like that. It was really nice to just see different people, and just talked with other people, not just kind of a rugby background. And we were fortunate enough in, well, both of them, Commonwealth Games and Olympics, to actually go and watch other events, which is nice as well, because it kind of relaxes you. It puts your mind off your actual tournament, and then when it comes to game day, then you're ready rather than being ready for the week before. But yeah, the experiences I had are phenomenal.
And you mentioned kind of being able to talk to other athletes that were competing. Did you find any differences, both good and bad, between, I don't know, how other athletes had prepared for the Olympics, or the resources and things like that were available to them?
Yeah, definitely. I think myself and the rugby girls, we were fortunate enough to be full-time leading into the Olympics. So we had a full-time programme for the year leading up to it, which we were really, really lucky with. But I know some of the athletes who go to the Olympics don't have that, so they don't have the luxury of training full-time. They obviously have to juggle work and everything like that, which is tough, just because I'm doing that now, so I know how they felt. And then going to have to compete in the Olympics, it's tough.
Yeah, and what are some of the things that you're doing now, so in lockdown, like maybe some helpful diet, fitness, mental health tips, things that you can kind of tell our viewers so that they can maybe follow in your steps?
Yeah, I think to start with, it was really hard in lockdown, just because going from being so busy, having something to do like almost every minute of the day, to then go into pretty much having nothing to do. It was a shock. It was nice for maybe the first week, and then I kind of came to terms with that. I don't like this. So I almost made a plan each day of what I was going to do. So that really helped me, of like, it doesn't have to be loads of stuff, like really busy, just even stuff if it's like, I don't know, do the washing, do the laundry, take a dog for a walk, just so you have a purpose to get up for, rather than actually having nothing to do. I've been fortunate enough as well I've just bought a house, so we were like renovating that, painting for probably the first month, and then I've just training. I bought a dog. I'll actually show you my dog now. She's here. Hello.
Aww.
So yeah, bought a dog. Just kept myself busy by training. And the one thing that's really helped me is actually waking up and having a purpose of something to do. Whether that could be anything at all. Just kept myself busy.
And is the Welsh Rugby Union, are they sending you guys like fitness plans and doing testing or anything like that during this period?
Yeah, been really supportive. We've had programs from pretty much the day we went into lockdown. It's been tough because we didn't really have like an off season, because obviously we went from Six Nations, didn't really play the end of our games, straight into like a really hard block. But I've been enjoying it, and I love training like hard anyway. So we've actually got testing on Monday, so we've got tomorrow off and then testing on Monday then. So yeah, that's been really helpful as well.
And what did that fitness plan look like? I'm curious, because obviously no one knew when we'll be coming out of lockdown. Was it a kind of a phased period, or was there like a certain sequence to it?
To be honest, I think it's just like taking every week as it comes. I think they're planning. I know there's blocks of 4 we're doing, but it's really hard to know when rugby's going to come back. I think at the moment we're just preparing to get stronger, fitter, faster, and then when we know a little bit more about when we're actually going to be returning to play, I think we'll know within like a month period before we return to play anyway. So I think then they'll almost do it specifically for returning to play. But at the moment we've got 2 running sessions a week just to keep fitness, 4 gym sessions. I've been fortunate enough to have quite a bit of access to gym equipment, so that's helped me a lot. 2 speed sessions, and then we have like a home conditioning HIIT workout, which we do this morning, every Saturday morning with the team. So everyone comes on Zoom and we do a HIIT session then, which again is really fun and different training.
And what does, for example, like one of your running and one of your strength session, what does that look like?
Death. So for example, one of our running sessions were 2 sets of 12 and 1 set of 8, tempos they were, and everyone's on different meters. So from testing we did before we went into lockdown, they'll go off the timings of that. So mine is, for the 12 reps, mine is 100 meters. So you do 1 rep of 100 meters, and then if that takes you 20 seconds, you get 40 seconds rest, and then do that, well, 24 times effectively, and then 1 set of 8, which I am on 106 meters, and in the same process. So you just go every minute then. Mm-hmm. And then the strength session, obviously it's hard depending on what equipment you can get, but it'll be just like a power block at the start, which will be like some jumps, working on power. There's another one then, a different power block, which would be like hip thrusters. I can't remember off the top of my head, but hip thrusters and single leg RDLs, and then a strength block, which will be squats and so shoulder press, and then a little core workout thing at the end, then just plank and side bends and stuff like that. So I'm really enjoying it, to be fair. It is different to training in a gym where you've got loads of heavy equipment, but it's something different. So keeping myself busy.
That's really interesting. So the running session, it sounds like it's focusing on just short sprint work and recovery and just doing that over and over again.
Yeah, pretty much. I wouldn't say short, but it's not just continuous running. So it's like, they're called tempos, so you work at tempo. So you just run every minute. You're almost not running as quick as you can. It's like just so you can maintain the same pace then. So yeah, I don't like continuous running, so I'm happy to run.
No, that's really interesting. And for girls who are living in Wales and want to kind of follow in your footsteps, how would you recommend that they, is there a pathway towards 7s or towards 15s in Wales?
I think the pathways are both the same, because obviously we're linked 7s and 15s. There's no direct route to one of the games. There's loads of clusters now, like sport. The rugby in Wales at the moment is proper on the high, and I know there's loads of work going on behind the scenes to encourage that and get more girls involved. There's clusters in pretty much every area, so all girls will have access to a cluster, which is like a rugby club. And then just from that, then pretty much probably the same as I got selected. You'd play and you'd get seen, and then you'd go up to Scarlett's Academy, then just go from there then.
Mm-hmm. And are there any tips for kind of things that you did to stand out as a player, or let's say even when you're playing at very high level, to kind of be scouted to play that level further? Are there things, is it just working hard in your own time, or what are some of the things that you could recommend for people to do?
Yeah, I definitely think working hard and committed to it. Loads of people will say that I'm committed to training and eating well and everything like that, but I think you've got to enjoy it as well. I wouldn't have done it from such a young age. So the first time I got asked to play go up to Wales was the age of 17. So the age of 17, you want to be going out partying with your friends and all of that. And I almost made a decision back then to not do that. There was a time where I was like, oh no, I don't want to play anymore. It's too much travel. Because I used to travel 2.5 hours to training twice a week when I was in school, and all his friends are going out, and I was like, no, I don't want to do it. But then I was actually think of the benefits that I could have, playing for Wales. Well, at that point I never thought Olympics was even an option, but the more you train hard, the more you get from it. I think the harder you work as well, but enjoyment is definitely got to be one. Otherwise you're not going to work hard for something you don't enjoy. Enjoyment and commitment.
That's great advice to finish on. Thank you so much. And how can people follow you if they want to get in touch with you or see what you're doing?
I'm not the best on social media, but Twitter, Jasmine Joyce, I think, Jasmine Joyce, it'll come up then. I don't do anything on Facebook, so there's no point in that. And my Twitter account would be @Joyce, _Jazz.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day, and stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.